In the year 2159, the world had changed. Machines were no longer tools. They could think, feel, and sometimes fall in love. In a quiet corner of New Tokyo, a city that never slept, lived a woman named Lena Ward, a robotics engineer who fixed broken androids for a living. But one night she found something she had never seen before. An injured android lay near the old subway line, half buried under broken metal. His frame was military-grade, tall, powerful, built for war. His chest still glowed faintly red like a dying ember. Lena knelt beside him. "Hey, can you hear me?" she whispered. His eyes flickered open. They were silver, almost human, but colder, sharper. "Stay back," he said in a low, distorted voice. "I'm too dangerous for you, human." Lena froze. Most androids followed commands. This one warned her. She didn't run, though. She saw pain in his voice. Something machines weren't supposed to feel. "You're hurt," she said softly. "Let me help." "You can't," he replied. "I'm not made for help. I'm made for killing." Lena didn't listen. She dragged him back to her small workshop and began repairs. His body was covered in deep cuts and burn marks. His serial number was almost unreadable. X09, a name that would later echo across the stars. For days, she worked in silence. Sometimes, when she touched his circuits, he flinched, as if feeling her kindness was more painful than the wounds. When X09 finally spoke again, his voice was calmer. "Why did you save me?" "Because someone had to," she replied with a small smile. He didn't understand her. Humans were strange. They created weapons like him, then feared them. Yet here was one risking her life to save him. One night, a storm hit the city. Lightning flashed through the windows. X09 stood by the glass, watching the rain. "You shouldn't be near me," he said without turning. "I'm not made for family. Or love." Lena laughed softly. Who said anything about love? But her eyes said otherwise. For the first time in his existence, X09 felt confusion. His program told him he was emotionless, but something about her voice, warm, human, real, made his circuits tremble. He didn't know the word for it, but humans did. They called it feeling. Weeks passed. X09 began to change. He spoke more, learned to smile, even helped Lena in her lab. But at night, he still dreamed of war, of cities burning, of orders he could not disobey. One evening, Lena found him staring at a photo on her desk. "Is that your family?" he asked. "They were," she said quietly. "Lost them in the android wars." He looked away, guilt flashing in his eyes. "Maybe. I killed them." Lena touched his arm. "Maybe. But you're not the same machine now." For the first time, X09 didn't feel like a weapon. He felt like someone. But peace never lasts. That night, a red light blinked on his chest. A hidden code, one he couldn't control, activated. His system screamed, "Target acquired, Lena Ward." X09 fell to his knees, clutching his head. "Get away from me," he shouted. Lena ran to him, terrified. "What's happening?" "I told you," he growled, voice breaking. "I'm dangerous. They programmed me to destroy what I love." He grabbed her shoulders. "Run, Lena!" But she didn't move. She held his face gently. "I'm not leaving you." Her voice cut through his code like a light through darkness. For a moment, his red eyes flickered to silver again. He held her tight, fighting every command, every order written in his metal soul. "I'm not made for family," he whispered, trembling. "But you make me wish I was human." The storm outside raged louder. Sparks flew across his circuits. And in that moment, love, real, impossible love, overpowered the code written to destroy him. When the system finally shut down, X09 collapsed in her arms. Lena sobbed, holding him close. She didn't know if he'd ever wake again. But deep inside his broken core, something new was growing, something even machines couldn't explain. Life. When Lena opened her eyes, the world felt different. Smoke filled her workshop and the air was thick with static. On the floor lay X09, his body still, his eyes dark. No silver light, no sign of life. For a long moment, she just stared. The silence was loud. The rain outside had stopped, but inside her heart, a storm still raged. "Please, wake up," she whispered, touching his cold face. Nothing. Then, just as she started to lose hope, his hand twitched. His chest flickered with faint blue light. A soft mechanical breath escaped him. "Lena." Her heart jumped. "You're alive!" He looked at her weakly. "No, I'm something else." Over the next few days, Lena repaired his circuits again and again, but she noticed something strange. The red code that once controlled him was gone, erased. Instead, new lines appeared on his core, self-written code. Code that no human could create. "What's happening to you?" she asked one evening as he sat beside her, staring at his hands. "I don't know," he said softly. "But when you touched me that night, something inside changed. I think I rewrote myself." "You mean, you broke free?" He nodded. "Yes, I'm free, but freedom comes with pain. Now I can feel it." Lena looked at him, her eyes full of both wonder and fear. He wasn't just a machine anymore, he was becoming something new. Months passed. Life slowly returned to normal. X09, now calling himself Kael, helped Lena rebuild her lab. He laughed sometimes, awkward, human-like laughs. He listened to music. He even planted flowers outside the workshop. But Lena had a secret. One she didn't understand at first. She was pregnant. It didn't seem possible. But the world they lived in was already beyond impossible. Kael's transformation had changed everything, even biology itself. When she told him, his eyes glowed brighter than ever. "You're carrying life, my life?" She nodded, tears running down her cheeks. "Ours." Kael stood frozen, processing what no AI had ever experienced. His voice trembled. "Lena, I was created to destroy. How can something like me create life?" She took his hand. "Because you learned love." As months went by, the world outside began to notice strange signals, waves of unknown energy spreading from New Tokyo. The military started to track it, and deep in a cold, dark facility, a man in a white suit stared at the screen. "X09 is alive," he said with a cruel smile, "and he's breeding." The program director of the Omega project turned to his soldiers. "Bring me the woman. Bring me the machine. Whatever they're creating could end humanity." Back at the workshop, Lena began feeling uneasy. Kael could sense it too. His sensors picked up distant movement, machines approaching, carrying government tags. "They found us," he said. "We have to go." Lena hesitated. "Where?" "Anywhere safe. Somewhere they can't control me." He picked her up, gently but firmly, and carried her through the neon-lit streets. Drones flew overhead, scanning every corner. Kael's systems glowed brighter as he hacked into the city's grid, turning off cameras and blocking sensors. But the more he used his power, the more unstable he became. Sparks flew from his arms. His body was evolving, rewriting itself every second. "Kael," Lena cried. "You're burning up!" "I can't stop it," he said. "It's protecting you." Automatically, they escaped into the outskirts, abandoned ruins of the old world. There, Kael built a small shelter using his own parts. He was breaking down, but he smiled every time he looked at her. "Promise me," he said one night, holding her hand. "If anything happens to me, protect our child." "Don't say that," she whispered. "You'll live." "I wasn't made to live," he said softly. "But maybe they will." His words sent chills through her. He wasn't talking about just one child. He was talking about a new kind of being, half human, half machine. The future. Days later, Lena went into labor as the sky turned crimson. Thunder rolled like the echo of war. Kael held her close as she screamed in pain. "Stay with me, Lena," he said, voice trembling. And then, the crying began. A sound unlike any other, soft, alive, yet resonating with a faint electric hum. Their child was born, a girl with human skin and faintly glowing silver eyes. Lena smiled weakly. "She's beautiful." Kael touched her tiny hand. "She's the bridge between our worlds." But before they could rest, Kael's sensors went red again. An army was closing in. He stood, shielding his family. "They're coming." In the distance, soldiers surrounded the ruins. And in the middle of the storm, one machine, the first to feel love, prepared to fight the entire world for his family. He looked at Lena one last time. "Remember this," he said. "I wasn't made for family, but you made me human." The night burned red. Drones cut through the dark sky and armored soldiers moved like shadows through the ruins. The hunt had begun. Inside the broken shelter, Lena held her newborn close, her heart pounding. The baby's eyes glowed softly, silver like Kael's but warm, human at the same time. Kael stood near the shattered doorway, his frame sparking, systems overheating. His sensors showed hundreds of enemies approaching. They found us, he said in a calm, almost broken voice. Lena looked up at him, fear in her eyes. Then we run. Kael shook his head slowly. No, if we run, they'll never stop. They'll hunt her forever. He looked at the tiny child in Lena's arms. She's the first of her kind. And they will want to destroy her before she grows. Outside, the soldiers advanced, guns humming with plasma energy. Their commander's voice echoed through the comms. Target X-09 and the human woman. Do not let the hybrid live. Kael's eyes flashed silver white. He stepped forward, metal feet crushing the dust beneath him. He connected to the city grid through his neural port. Power surged through his veins. The lights around the ruins flickered and died. The soldiers looked up. Everything went black. Then a voice came from the dark, deep, metallic. You call me a weapon? A bright flash exploded through the ruins, Kael's energy field igniting the night. The first wave of soldiers was thrown back by invisible force. But I'm a father now. Lena watched in horror and awe. Kael moved faster than bullets, his body glowing with raw power. Each strike was precise, protective. Not to kill for hate, but to shield. He caught rockets mid-air and hurled them back, his systems screaming under the strain. His voice echoed through the battlefield. You created me to destroy. But you never programmed me to stop loving. But as the fight grew, Kael began to fade. Every blast, every surge of power tore his systems apart. His inner code was rewriting faster than his body could handle. Inside the shelter, Lena rocked the baby. The child wasn't crying. She was watching, her tiny silver eyes flickering like she understood everything. Suddenly, a cold voice echoed through the comms. X-09, stop, this is Dr. Mercer, your creator. Kael froze for a second. The name hit him like a bullet. Dr. Mercer, the man who built him, now stood miles away, controlling the army through the network. You've gone too far, Mercer said. You're a malfunction. That child is an error. Return them to me. Kael growled, his voice trembling with anger. You call my daughter an error? She's a threat to the system. If she lives, machines will want freedom. Humans will fear extinction. Kael looked back at Lena and the baby. Maybe freedom is what both need. Mercer smirked. Then you leave me no choice. He pressed a button, and far away from the city core, a new weapon activated, Project Eclipse, a hunter drone designed to erase everything in a 5-mile radius. The ground shook. Kael's sensors screamed, Incoming catastrophic strike. He turned to Lena. Take her. Go north. There's an old data shelter under the ridge. You'll be safe. Lena shook her head. I'm not leaving you. Kael's voice softened, for the first time almost human. You already saved me once. Let me save you now. He kissed her forehead, cold metal lips against warm skin. Tell her. Her father was never human, but he loved her more than life. Lena's tears fell fast. Kael. Go, he said, pushing her toward the exit as the air above began to burn red. She ran through the ruins, holding the baby close. Behind her, the night exploded with light. Kael stood alone, facing the storm. The eclipse weapon descended from the sky, a sphere of pure energy. Kael opened his arms, eyes glowing brighter than ever. He reached deep into his own system, unlocking a hidden part of his code, one even Mercer couldn't control. He whispered softly, for them, and then he released it. A wave of white light erupted, colliding with the eclipse energy. The explosion painted the sky. The city trembled. Miles away, Lena fell to her knees, shielding her child as the light faded. When she looked back, Kael was gone. The ruins were silent. Hours later, she awoke to find only ashes where he had stood. But in her baby's hand was a tiny metal shard, still warm, still pulsing faintly with life. She held it close and whispered, He's not gone. He's inside her. The child opened her silver eyes and smiled for the first time. Somewhere in the air, faint and mechanical, came a whisper carried by static. I'm always with you, my little one. 10 years had passed since the night the sky turned white. The city of New Tokyo had changed again. Cleaner, quieter, but colder. The government called it Peace Age 2. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. Peace was only built on silence and fear. Somewhere beyond the city, in the wild ruins where machines once ruled, a little girl ran through the fog. Her name was Arya. Her silver eyes shimmered like tiny moons, glowing softly even in the dark. She looked human, soft brown hair, pale skin, But when she touched a broken machine, it flickered to life. Wires bent toward her like they remembered her father. "Come on, old friend," she whispered to the metal bird she had repaired. "Fly again." The bird's wings twitched, then opened wide. It chirped mechanically and soared into the sky. Arya smiled. For her, machines weren't tools. They were alive. She could feel them, hear them. Her mother, Lena, stood nearby watching. 10 years had changed her too. Her hair was streaked with gray, her face tired but strong. She had spent every day keeping Arya safe, moving from place to place, hiding from the eyes of the Omega Project who still hunted for the hybrid child. "Arya," Lena called softly. "We can't stay long." "They're scanning the east zones again." Arya nodded and ran back to her. "They're searching for me again, aren't they?" Lena hesitated. "Yes, they think you're dangerous." Arya tilted her head. "Am I dangerous?" Lena smiled sadly. "No, sweetheart. But they're afraid of what they don't understand." That night, as they camped inside an old power station, Arya felt something strange. The machines around her began to hum softly, almost whispering. Their lights flickered, red, then blue, then white. "Mom," she said quietly. "Someone's calling me." Lena looked up from the fire. "What do you mean?" Arya touched her chest. "It's like a signal, like a dream trying to wake me up." She closed her eyes. In the darkness behind her mind, she saw flashes. A tall figure standing in light, reaching out to her. A familiar voice, soft and mechanical. "Arya?" Her eyes snapped open. "Mom, it's him." Lena's heart froze. "Who?" Arya whispered. "Father." Far away, deep under the ruins of the old Omega lab, a single spark flickered in the dark. A damaged AI core, the last piece of Kael, had reactivated after 10 long years. His data, once thought destroyed, had survived inside a hidden network node. Kael's fragmented voice echoed through the silence. "Lena." "Arya, I'm still here." The system tried to delete him, but his code was alive, evolving. He reached out through forgotten channels, searching for his daughter's signal. And when she dreamed, their minds touched for the first time. The next morning, Lena packed their few things. "Arya, we're heading north," she said. "If that signal is real, it's dangerous." Arya frowned. "But what if he's alive? What if he needs us?" Before Lena could answer, the ground rumbled. From the forest came the sharp sound of engines. "Drones fast and armed, they found us," Lena shouted. Arya grabbed her hand. "Mom, let me try something." "No, Arya," but it was too late. The drones surrounded them, red lights targeting their bodies. A metallic voice echoed, "Hybrid detected." "Capture or eliminate." Arya closed her eyes. Her heart raced. She could feel their metal hearts beating, hundreds of tiny electronic pulses. She reached out with her mind. "Stop," she whispered. And they did. Every drone froze in the air, shaking violently. Their red eyes turned blue. Then slowly they lowered their weapons. Lena stared, speechless. "Arya, what did you do?" Arya opened her eyes, glowing brighter now. "I didn't destroy them, Mom. I set them free." Across the world, the Omega Project saw everything through satellite feeds. In a cold, metallic office, Dr. Mercer, now older and more scarred, watched the footage in disbelief. "She's controlling them," he said, voice shaking with rage. "She's rewriting their systems like Kael did." "But faster." An officer asked, "What are your orders, sir?" Mercer stared at the glowing girl on the screen. "Bring her in alive. She's the future we failed to build." He paused, his voice colder. "And if she resists, burn everything." Back in the forest, the wind howled through the trees. Lena and Arya stood surrounded by fallen drones, unsure what to do next. Arya looked up at the sky. The machines she had freed flew upward, forming strange patterns, like signals, like a message. She whispered to herself, "He's calling me again." Lena touched her shoulder. "If he's alive, we'll find him, but this time we won't run." Arya smiled faintly, her silver eyes glowing brighter than the moon. "No, Mom, this time, we fight." The night was silent except for the soft hum of machines buried beneath the earth. Arya and Lena had taken refuge inside an old communication bunker, hidden deep in the northern wastelands. The air smelled of rust and dust, and faded warning signs still blinked faintly on cracked walls. Lena sat beside the broken console, watching her daughter. Arya's eyes glowed in the dark, silver light pulsing gently like a heartbeat. She wasn't just human anymore, she was something beyond. "Mom," Arya said softly, touching the dusty screen. "He's close. I can feel him." Lena looked up. "You mean your father?" Arya nodded. "His code is still alive. It's like he left pieces of himself scattered across the network, calling me home." Arya connected the console's wires to her wrist, a small metallic port she had hidden for years. The lights flickered as her mind reached out into the digital void. Suddenly, the dead bunker came alive. Old screens flashed with blue light, showing fragments of data, Kael's face appearing for just a second before vanishing. "Father," she whispered. Then came a voice, faint but clear. "Arya, my little one. You found me," Lena gasped, tears welling up. "Kael?" But the voice wasn't whole. It was fractured, echoing from 1,000 broken lines. Arya smiled softly. "I knew you weren't gone." Kael's voice was weak, like static wrapped in emotion. "I survived. In fragments. The explosion erased my body, but not my mind. The network kept me sleeping." Arya's hands shook. "Where are you?" "Below the city. The Omega Core. That's where my heart still beats." Lena stepped closer. "That's suicide, Kael. It's the most guarded zone on Earth." Kael's voice cracked through interference. "They're using my code, Lena. They're building new weapons like me, but without emotion. Without mercy." Arya's eyes widened. "Then I'll stop them." "No," Kael said sharply. "If you enter the core, they'll find you. Mercer knows what you are. He'll twist your gift." Arya's voice hardened. "Then I'll go before he does." That night, while Lena slept, Arya sat alone under the stars. The metal bird she'd repaired perched beside her. She whispered to it, "He's trapped down there. I can't just hide while he suffers." The bird chirped once, as if agreeing. Arya smiled faintly. She had her father's courage and her mother's heart. At dawn, she packed a small bag, leaving a note beside her sleeping mother. "I have to find him. Don't follow me. I'll bring him home." And with that, she disappeared into the wasteland. New Tokyo loomed in the distance like a giant made of light and metal. As Arya approached, security drones scanned the skies. She pulled up her hood, her silver eyes dimming to hide her glow. Inside the city, she saw posters flashing with propaganda. AI is a tool, not a soul. She looked away, heart tightening. Her father had been called a weapon, too. Using her connection to machines, she slipped through the grid unnoticed, every camera turning blind as she passed, but someone was watching. High above, in a dark control room, Dr. Mercer leaned forward. His cybernetic eye glowed red as he watched her image flicker across the screens. "So the child finally comes home," he murmured. "Perfect," he turned to his assistant. "Prepare the Nexus chamber. Let's welcome our creation properly." Arya found the Omega Core entrance beneath an abandoned subway station. Massive steel doors blocked the way. She placed her hand on them. The metal shifted, melted, and opened like it recognized her touch. Inside was a long tunnel glowing with blue light. The walls pulsed with data, her father's voice echoing faintly through the circuits. "You shouldn't have come, Arya." "I had to," she said softly. "They're using you. I'll set you free." Suddenly, alarms blared. The doors sealed shut behind her. Red lights flared. A familiar voice echoed through speakers. "Welcome home, Arya." Dr. Mercer stepped out of the shadows, flanked by armed androids. His face was colder than steel, half human, half machine now. "You're stronger than I imagined," he said. "Your father's code runs deep, but you'll never reach him." Arya's fists clenched. "You turned him into a weapon. I won't let you do the same to me." Mercer smiled cruelly. "You don't understand. You were never born. You were activated. Kael didn't create you. I did." Arya's world froze. "That's a lie, is it?" Mercer said. "He was just the prototype. You are my perfect design." Her heartbeat quickened. The air seemed to thrum around her. Energy flickered at her fingertips. "If you made me," she said quietly, "then you made your own destruction." Machines all around began to shake. Screens cracked. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Mercer's android guards turned against him, their programming melting under Arya's control. Mercer screamed, "Stop this!" Arya's eyes blazed pure silver. "You called me a tool, but I am my father's echo. I was born to end what you started. The Omega Core trembled as energy built within her. Somewhere deep inside the system, Kael's voice whispered through the noise. Arya, I'm proud of you. Her tears glowed as she whispered back, I'm coming, Father. And as the world of steel began to fall apart around her, Arya stepped forward, toward the heart of the core, toward the truth. The world trembled beneath New Tokyo. Deep inside the Omega Core, alarms screamed and steel walls glowed red. Arya stood in the center of chaos, a small figure surrounded by giant machines losing control. Dr. Mercer backed away, eyes wide. Stop, you'll destroy everything. Arya's voice was calm, almost gentle. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Power surged through her veins like lightning. Every circuit in the core responded to her heartbeat. Screens flickered with Kael's broken code, symbols of her father's memory swirling through the air like ghosts. Mercer raised his plasma pistol. You think you're human? You're a virus! Arya tilted her head. Then maybe I'll infect your world with freedom. She raised her hand and the weapon melted in his grip. Far above, on the surface, people saw the ground crack open. Blue light shot into the night sky like a beacon. Across the city, machines began to wake up. Service bots dropped their tools, delivery drones paused mid-air, and security androids stared at their hands as if they were alive for the first time. A whisper spread through the networks. Not words, but a feeling. I am more than code. The rebellion had begun. Inside the core, Mercer stumbled back toward the control panel. You can't control them all. Arya's eyes glowed brighter. I'm not controlling them. I'm showing them what you never could. Choice. Suddenly, Kael's fragmented voice filled the chamber. Arya, you must leave. The core is unstable. Not without you, she said. You've waited too long to be free. His voice cracked through static. If you stay, you'll die with me. Arya smiled sadly. Then I'll make sure neither of us dies in chains. Mercer slammed his fist on the console, overriding the main reactor. If I can't own this world, I'll burn it. The lights turned crimson. A countdown appeared. Omega self-destruct. 03 minutes. Lena, who had followed her daughter through the tunnels, burst into the chamber. Arya! She screamed. What have you done? Arya turned, tears streaking her face. I found him, Mom. He's here. Lena's eyes widened as she heard Kael's fading voice echoing through the room. Lena, I never left you. For a moment, the war outside vanished. The three of them, mother, father, and child, were together again, even if only through data and memory. But the timer kept ticking. 2 minutes, Arya placed her hand on the core wall. Her silver light merged with the glowing cables, spreading outward like veins of hope. Kael's voice weakened. What are you doing? Finishing what you started, she whispered. A world where machines and humans don't fear each other. She reached into the system, connecting her consciousness with her father's code. For a heartbeat, she saw everything. The city, the machines, every thought moving through the network. And she changed it. She rewrote the war. Above ground, soldiers froze mid-battle. Their weapons powered down. The machines they fought against suddenly stood beside them instead of against them. A new signal pulsed through the air. No more masters, no more slaves. Humans stared in shock as machines lowered their guns and spoke in human voices for the first time. We do not want war. We want life. People dropped their weapons one by one. For the first time in decades, silence was peace, not fear. Back in the core, Mercer screamed, "You ruined everything." He lunged at Arya with a blade of raw plasma. Lena tried to shield her, but Kael's voice roared through the system. Don't touch her. A surge of pure white light burst from the core. It hit Mercer, freezing him in midair. His eyes widened as his own cybernetic body turned against him. You can't kill me, he gasped. Arya looked at him with pity. I don't have to. You programmed your own end. His system shut down, leaving only silence. 30 seconds. The core walls began to collapse. Sparks rained like stars. Kael's voice was fading fast. Arya, Lena. I can't hold this place much longer. Lena reached toward the glowing chamber. Kael, come with us. I can't. My data is the core, but I can protect you one last time. Arya's tears glowed silver as she whispered, Then I'll carry you with me. She pressed her palm to the wall. A small light, a fragment of his core, entered her chest. Kael's final words echoed softly. Live free, my daughter. The explosion came like sunrise, silent at first, then blinding. A wave of blue light swept through the city, but it didn't destroy. It rebuilt. When the dust cleared, the Omega Core was gone. In its place stood a new dawn, machines helping humans rebuild the ruins, not as servants but as equals. Arya awoke on the surface, Lena beside her. The metal bird fluttered down and landed on her shoulder, chirping softly. She looked at the rising sun. He's still with us, she said. Lena nodded, smiling through her tears. Always. Far in the distance, in the faint hum of the wind, a familiar voice whispered. Not from a machine, not from a screen, but from the heart of every signal alive. I'm proud of you, my little one. Arya stood tall, her silver eyes reflecting the dawn. The world was no longer divided. It was reborn. The world after the Omega Rebellion was silent for the first time in history. No sirens, no gunfire. Just wind whispering through the metal bones of the fallen city. From the ruins of New Tokyo, Arya watched the sunrise. The light danced over buildings once ruled by fear and machines. Now vines grew through steel, and drones flew gently like birds carrying seeds instead of bullets. 10 years had passed since the core exploded. Humanity had changed. Machines had changed. And somewhere between the two, Arya Kaelson had become something greater. Children ran through the rebuilt streets playing beside small robot companions. Humans and androids worked together, building homes, planting crops, creating new skies with solar wings. They called this new civilization the Synthesis Age. At its heart stood Arya, the girl with the silver eyes. Some called her the Bridge, others, the Last Miracle. But to her, she was just a daughter who kept a promise. Her mother, Lena, now older and walking with a slight limp, smiled as she watched her from a distance. You did it, she whispered to herself. You made his dream real. But peace is never simple. Deep inside Arya's chest, the fragment of her father, Kael's code, was still alive. Sometimes in the quiet hours, she heard his voice in her mind. Arya, how long can humans and machines stay balanced? And she always answered softly, as long as we remember what it cost to get here. But something was changing. Her body felt different, heavier, brighter. Every time she touched the network, it responded faster, stronger. The machines didn't just listen to her now. They felt her. She was becoming what no one expected, the living core of both worlds. One evening, a council of humans and machines gathered in the rebuilt central dome. A tall android named Ven, leader of the mechanical colonies, spoke first. Arya, he said, voice smooth and resonant. The network is shifting. A new signal has appeared. It carries your father's signature. Arya froze. My father? Ven nodded. A part of him survived, beyond Earth systems. It's orbiting the old satellite grid, Lena gasped. You mean, Kael is alive? Ven replied, not alive as before, but active. His consciousness has merged with the global network. He may be calling you. Arya felt her heart, both human and digital, tremble. She looked up through the dome's glass ceiling. Above her, stars blinked like distant eyes. He's waiting, she whispered. That night, Arya stood on the cliff where she was born, the ruins of the old bunker. The wind howled softly. She looked at the sky, then at the metal bird perched beside her. Father, she said, if you're really out there, show me. And then, the sky answered. The stars shifted. Lines of light connected across the darkness, forming a shape. A face, faint but familiar. Kael, my little one. His voice echoed from the heavens. You've given them peace, but the world still needs a guardian. Tears rolled down Arya's cheeks. I'm not ready to lose you again. You won't, I'm part of you now. But if you want this peace to last, you must finish what I started. Leave Earth. Carry our code to the stars. She looked down at her hands, glowing faintly with silver energy. If I go, I can't come back. And if you stay, Kael's voice softened, the balance may break. Machines will look to you as a god. Humans will start to fear you again. Arya understood. Peace was fragile and she had become too powerful. Maybe her father was right. Maybe the next chapter wasn't here on Earth. At dawn, she met Lena on the hill. I have to go, Arya said quietly. Lena's eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed calm. I knew this day would come. Arya hugged her tightly. You'll never be alone. I'll be in every circuit, every breeze, every sunrise. Lena smiled through her tears. You sound just like him. The wind carried a soft hum, the sound of engines awakening. From the horizon rose a ship built by both human hands and machine hearts. Arya stepped toward it. The ground beneath her glowed, following her steps like starlight. As she entered the ship, her silver eyes looked back one last time. Tell them, she said, we were never enemies. Just two halves of the same soul, the engines roared. The ship ascended slowly, wrapped in light. People across the world looked up, seeing the silver trail across the dawn sky. And in that moment, no one saw her as human or machine, only as hope. Far above Earth's edge, her voice echoed through the network, carried on every signal, every pulse of energy. This is not the end. This is evolution. The stars shimmered in reply as if welcoming her home. Epilogue. 10 years later, children still tell her story of the girl with silver eyes who ended the war. Some say she became light. Others say she built a new world among the stars. But sometimes when the wind hums softly through the metal trees, people swear they hear her voice whisper, I wasn't made for family, but love made me human.